To Bennettsville Primary School, Marlboro County School District meeting, Monday, October 6, 2014, is called to order. There's been notification of the news media. They are not here yet, but I know that they were notified. And Mr. Branch, would you please have an invocation for us?
Yeah, let us pray. Thank you, Lord, for all of our blessings that you bestowed upon us. Thank you, Lord, for our kids, our staff, our parents. Lord, please continue to bless our district as we strive for excellence, Lord. Lord, please bless us. And Lord, just give us the ability to make decisions and to respect each other as we do this, Lord. Lord, we ask these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
It's really nice to see this many people here for the school board meeting. I applaud you all for attending. We need approval of the agenda, and Mr. Goff is going to make a motion to remove one of the things that he wanted on there, and I'm going to take mine off as well because we have a huge agenda tonight, and maybe this will save a little bit of time. Mine's a zero tolerance for drugs, alcohol, and tobacco, and Mr. Goff's is superintendent's evaluation. Mr. Goff?
Madam Chair, I move that we approve the agenda minus.
If I may, before you do that, I would like to say something. I'm not sure, based on some of the headings of the agenda, really where some of these could be heading, but I'd like to say that anything that anybody would like to discuss that has to do with personnel, or anything that had to do with personnel that was discussed at the last board meeting, either be moved to executive session or not discussed in public here.
Would you like to put that in the form?
I mean, if I need to, I will, but I mean, it may not even be on the agenda, but I just like to make that move.
All right. Thank you.
Madam Chair.
I would agree with that, Madam Chair.
Yes, all right. So would you like to make that in the form of a motion?
I mean, if nobody was going to discuss it, I don't think it needs to be.
So without objection, we just move on. All right, Mr. Goff?
Madam Chair, I move that we approve the agenda, removing the zero tolerance for drugs and superintendent's evaluation to a later meeting.
Is there a second?
Wait a minute, hold up. I would like to,
McLean?
and right there where you have Mr. Coachman for board member actions, I'd like to put myself there, if it's okay with Mr. Coachman.
Instead of Mr. Coachman?
Yes.
That's fine with Mr. Coachman.
All right, Mr. Goff?
I wouldn't be. I said I wouldn't be. Okay. I move that we approve the agenda with the removal of zero tolerance for drugs, as well as superintendent's evaluation, and also replacing the board member actions from Mr. Coachman to Ms. McLean.
Is there a second?
Yes, sir.
All in favor, please raise your right hand. Y'all going to have to hold them up high tonight. All right, and the motion's carried unanimously. Would all of you please be careful to pull your microphones close? There. Beg your pardon? I am too. So if everyone will pull your microphones close and don't be shy tonight. All right, so the motion was carried. Ms. Tweed, you're going to have to... Ms. Tweed, if you will help me with the count on motions, if I miss something, you interrupt me and tell me I've missed it. Thank you. All right, under new business, we have nothing there, and welcome and school presentation, Ms. Redding, the principal of Bennettsville Primary School. Here you are. Approval of the minutes for September 8th, 2014. Would someone please make a motion?
Madam Chairman, I move we accept the minutes for September 8th.
All right, pull your microphone closer. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor, please raise your right hand really high so Ms. Tweed can see too. Is this unanimous? All right, thank you. Next, the School Board Association Delegate Assembly nominations need to be made. We need a vote on this. Would someone like to nominate someone? Who'd like to go?
I'll go.
All right, Ms. Peterkin, who else?
I'll go.
Y'all are old hands, you go every time, don't you? All right, would someone make a motion
Someone else wants
that
to,
Ms.
they welcome
Peterkin and Ms. Fleming go?
Two alternates, too.
Two. Right. Okay, and Mr. Goff said he would serve as an alternate. So Ms. O'Nation said she would serve as an alternate. So now who's left? Mr. Branch, would you make a motion for us, please?
Make a motion that we, that Ms. Fleming and Ms. Peterkin serve as our delegates, and Mr. Goff and Ms. O'Nation serve as our alternates.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor, please raise your right hand. Thank you. The motion's carried unanimously. Next, we have individuals or groups who wish to appear before the board. And first is Mr. Tim McNeil, connection with the bus to Blenheim. Mr. McNeil. And before you begin, I'd like to read, I'm sorry to leave you standing up there this long, but we had a little debacle at the last meeting, so I'd like to read the public participation policies before we begin, and I'm going to do this at every meeting so that if anyone is new to the meetings, they understand what the rules are. The purpose is to establish the basic structure for public participation in board meetings. The public is cordially invited to attend board meetings. The board conducts meetings for the purpose of carrying on the official business of the school district. The meetings are not public forum meetings, but are meetings held in public. Orderly conduct of a meeting does not permit spontaneous discussion from the audience. Regular, special, and emergency meetings are open to the general public, news media, and school staff. In order that the board may fairly and adequately discharge its overall responsibility, citizens wanting an item to be placed on the agenda for a specific board meeting should direct requests to the superintendent or the board chairman, or in this case, Ms. Tweed. The board urges all persons to participate through established procedures as set forth in the administrative rule accompanying this policy. These procedures are designed to encourage participation and ensure the orderly management of the school district. The board is committed to compliance with the South Carolina Freedom of Information Act, as well as all other federal and state laws which regulate or impinge on board actions and policy. And there's one other policy. In order to ensure that persons who wish to appear before the board may be heard and at the same time allow the board to conduct its meetings properly and efficiently, the board adopts the following rules and procedures pertaining to public participation in its meetings. Speakers may offer objective criticisms of the district and school operations and programs as concern items. However, in public session, the board will not hear personal complaints about district personnel, nor hear personal complaints against any person connected with the district. Other channels provide for board consideration and disposition of legitimate complaints involving individual employees. Persons wishing to address the board representing themselves or a group must complete an available card, which you have all done. The available card will ask for the individual's name, address, phone number, nature of the issue being presented, and where applicable, organization being represented. This card will be available at the meeting at which permission to speak is being requested. Anyone needing assistance in providing this information will be given help. The public participation portion of the board meeting will be at the same designated time, in other words, place on the agenda for all regularly scheduled meetings. Each speaker will have 3 minutes to address the board. Appropriate language and decorum will be determined by the board chairman. The board vests in its chairman or other presiding officer the authority to terminate the remarks of individuals who do not adhere to the rules established above. And so with that said, Mr. McNeil, proceed.
Thank you, Madam Chair, board members, members of the community. First of all, I want to thank everybody for coming. Next, I would like to thank the board members that showed up at the community forum. Board Chair, Mr. Goff, Ms. O'Nation, Ms. Peterkin, Mr. Branch, really appreciate it. I also want to voice disappointment that my own board member did not show. And to the community, can you imagine having a forum about crime in the city and the police chief or one of his designees doesn't show up? That's what happened. Our superintendent did not show up, did not send a designee, did not send anyone to hear parents, to absorb what they were saying. Actions speak very loud. My grandmother instilled in me not to judge what's in people's heart, judge them by the actions. And the actions are not coming sent a very clear message about how much you value your parents, children, and taxpayers. To my point, I would like to ask the board again to begin discussion to adopt a policy that when there's forced busing, school to school, there's a connect, when there's forced busing outside of a catchment area, there's a school-to-school connector bus provided. Makes no sense. I have to drive to Blenheim twice a day. Did not ask for my son to go down there. School of Discovery still provided the connector bus. I even offer this. If it's such a good policy, end all connector buses. The School of Discovery also. Now, one reason was given for these ending the connector bus was that they stretched the day at Blenheim. They may have stretched it. Well, let me tell you how my son's day is starting now. And there's no swipe on the Blenheim administration, but some kind of way they force him to do Harambe. My son's in the 7th grade. Academically gifted child. And why is he being forced to do Harambe every morning? Once again, part of a flawed partnership. It's not going to help none of them on the pass test. And this is just the games that this administration plays. And board, it is time for you to take some steps, just as years before, to stop the superintendent from putting our children in bad positions.
Point of order, Madam Chairman. I would just ask you to be mindful of the way that you're talking about our superintendent.
I have to identify, I don't know other way to identify her. Well, anyway, our
Proceed,
school
your time is
executive.
about up.
Okay.
Proceed.
Well, anyway, I just would like for y'all to continue to adopt this policy. Children still getting up 5 o'clock in the morning, and it's not going for School of Discovery. So if it's good for my son going to Blenheim, make it happen for all the students. Thank you.
3 minutes. Thank you. Gregory Woods, do I have the, am I reading the writing correctly? Okay, thank you. Stand up for Clive. That's the topic. Thank you.
Good afternoon,
Good afternoon, Mr. Woods.
Mr. Chairman, and the rest of the board members in their respective places. My name is Pastor Gregory Woods. I'm standing, you have been given a handout. I'm standing here along with the Clio concerned citizens, as well as speaking on their behalf. On the last board meeting, 3 needs, critical needs, were addressed to you all. And we're here tonight to see where do we stand, was it discussed, how far along are you? And this is why we have handed you out those things again, and we're going to reassess them. I'll be brief, but I'll be precise. One of the things they have given to us is a need in Clio, the lighting system. The lighting is very dark in Clio at night, and we all know now time is changing, it is dark. Every school is predominantly with women, and they need protection. If you come to Clio at the afternoon, we have afternoon programs. Also, our staff, they're trying to go to their car, it's pitch dark. Crime is at a high rate, especially in Clio, as in Marlboro County. Safety is a big issue. We need fencing area. The fencing area between the school and the project need to be secure. We have no security for our students or our staff members. And the next thing we have is an awning. Every school has an awning. It's raining. our kids, when it raining, our kids have to stand outside in the rain along with the staff. Have to stand out. Our owner don't cost that much. We can afford that. I'm real sure we can. So then you run into the revelation of you having sick kids, you have sick faculty. The next thing I want to put on this agenda is we looking at, last Friday went out there to the school, our kids trying to play in the playground, trying to play basketball, and it's like playing in a sandbox. I was fortunate enough to play basketball in Marlboro County. Can you imagine trying to bounce a ball in the sandbox? We only asking for 50 yards of concrete or either pavement. We can't get it done. We have a petition signed now with the citizens of Clio, 330 students. This is the main focal point. I want to drive home and I'll be ready to take my seat. Clio School, Blenheim has a state-of-the-art school. Wallace is going to get one. We don't even have proper dressing rooms. Now, community, those of you who know about schools, PE is a curriculum now. You have a grade for PE. Our kids have to dress for PE. They have to go in the bathroom or they have to go in the classroom. Unacceptable. When we have activities in Clio, the middle school, it's an embarrassment for us. When a town come, whether it's Blenheim, McCall, Wallace, come for an event to play basketball, football, our team don't have nowhere to dress. I'm going to pick my brother Johnson. He's a coach. If he wanted to bring his team in and talk at halftime, he don't have nowhere to talk to his team. We got to go in the bathroom to talk to your team. It's unheard of. And I want to leave you with this, and I know my time is up. Two things, and the preacher coming out in me. I don't care who win this election. We put y'all there because we got confidence in you all to do the best for this county and our schools. But let me tell you this, the Bible declares a house that is divided cannot stand. We sit here and y'all accolade, y'all give the kids, you lift them up so high with praise. And when this meeting start, y'all act like, y'all look what y'all showing our kids. Y'all fussing and fighting against one another, showing our kids how adults supposed to act. We got faith in you all. And on last, what I'm going to see, every time you did something wrong to a child, the Lord says, suffer the little children unto me, be it them no harm. It's better for you to tie a milestone around your neck, not just jump in the sea, but he said go in the deepest part of the sea. So I stand, Clio, I ask that you stand. We got a motto from this day forward, we stand for Clio. We'll be here next meeting, we'll be here in the meeting after next, and Arnold Schwarzenegger said, we'll be back.
I'd like for y'all to know, in case anyone wants to join us tomorrow, Mr. Hanley and I are meeting at 9 o'clock at the Clio School. We were trying to do it last week, and I had a conflict. But anyone that would like to come on the board and walk through the school with him, we're heading out there at 9 o'clock. All right? And next is Mr. Darrell Damon on School Board Division.
Just want to say hello to everybody. Really want to commend that young lady on the Anne Frank quote you gave us, that everybody should take not pass up a minute to make the world better. I was disappointed in the first speaker. And reason being, I witnessed his actions at a football game just recently at halftime. And I was like, this guy always gyrating and complaining about the school board and the direction they're going. And he passed up the perfect opportunity. He passed right by a school board member. And I was like, this is the perfect opportunity. It's halftime of a football game for them to have some dialogue about the situation. That probably would have been a good opportunity to kind of like get things to moving in the right direction. But we know a lot of people just like to gyrate and want attention. You know, they want to be a part of the problem instead of the solution. I commend you on the great work you guys do. You know, I want to say something that Ms. Onasian, she wrote in the paper just recently. I admire you, been knowing you for over 30 years. And you made a point in your bio, you say this busing issue has been an issue since 1989. Let me say that again, 1989. So why should this young lady here take the blame for that? If my memory served me correctly, she wasn't even our superintendent when the implementation of the school started. So why should she be taking all this flack for? She got into the solution. The school was built too big. She transported kids in. You know, I'm very disappointed in our chairman. I think she always failed to be the part of the problem. Of the solution. Every opportunity she gets to be negative towards our school board, she take advantage of. You know, I can name, and mind you, this is the same lady. I know there was another era, another arena, but this is the same lady that was our mayor when we petitioned her for a rec department for our little kids, and she didn't think they was worthy. Let's keep in mind, it is a school election year, okay? So I wasn't appalled when you said the media wasn't here, because usually the media here when they got close ties with somebody they like that's trying to advance their agenda. So I really wasn't appalled. I wasn't stunned by that situation. But I just want to let you guys know, those who are in the fight and doing the best they can do, keep up the good work. I saw a kid at the beginning of the school year, and I approached Mr. Coachman about it. It's 5:30 in the morning, and I'm leaving to go to work. I was like, this don't make no sense. A kid got to get up this early to go to school to catch a bus. Well, you know what Mr. Coachman told me? It will work itself out. Well, now when I leave to go to work, I don't see that kid no more. It worked itself out. If my memory served me correctly again, this is a new school. We're going to have a lot of wrinkles that's going to take time to be worked out. Last thing I want to say, and I know I kept saying about either being part of the problem or part of the solution. I remember when they built the school, and they were having all these town hall meetings, okay? And I used to say, well, I don't have to go. Ms. Fleming will represent my best interest, because at the time I was living in Bennettsville. Well, when I moved to Wallace, I was like, Mr. Coachman will represent my best interest, because I was living in Wallace. Well, being from Bennettsville, we no longer have the Bennettsville Purple Devil, the Bennettsville Green Gremlin, so we lost out on everything. But I was a part of the problem, because I choose not to participate in the public forum. And I've seen many a times you guys were having public forum about the Blenheim School. So we wasn't there in attendance, voicing our opinion, casting our vote. We were definitely part of the problem. Thanks for letting me share.
Thank you. David Best. And he wants to speak about the Wallace Elementary Middle School. When I signal 3 minutes, that's 3 minutes. When y'all keep going, I don't want to interrupt y'all, because it messes up your flow, but when I do this, I mean, stop. All right, Mr. Best.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the board, Dr. Tiller, Madam Chair. Thank you so much for allowing me to come tonight and speak to you. I want to start off with saying I do have faith in you. We put you in that place so you would represent our children. I encourage you to do that. I'm here tonight on behalf of my 2 kids, but more so to the point on behalf of the School Improvement Committee for Wallace Elementary and Middle School. As y'all know, we're starting to build a new school out there, and I want to get right to the point of why I'm here is to speak of the current construction and the size and the number of classrooms based on the number of students that we actually have. In 2009, we had about 334 kids that attended Wallace. Last Friday this year, we had 416. Over the past 5 years, if you averaged that, well, if you did the math, that'd be 82 kids over the past 5 years. If you took an average of that, that's about 16 kids a year. That's a little over half of a classroom. And I'm smart enough to understand that all 16 of those kids weren't the same age, and they didn't go in the same class, and they've just been kind of populated into the rooms. So that illustration of greater than half of a classroom is probably not relative, but it does set a benchmark for this conversation. But those numbers, those are true numbers. In 2009, there was 334 kids. Last Friday, 2014, we got 416 children. If we don't have a school that's big enough that we're building now to put all our kids in, we certainly won't have it big enough when it's completed to put all of our kids, and we're just thinking, I mean, we're going to have some growth. You know, if I was to be moving into this area, and I love Marlboro County. I wasn't born here, but I love it. I put my roots down. I believe this is God's country. This is where the milk and honey flow. I would encourage anybody to move to Marlboro County, but especially, I have to tip my hat now to Wallace. I would move to Wallace because I know we got to have us a new school. And I would want to send my kids to a new school. I don't believe new schools make institutions of instruction. I believe that good teachers and good staff and administration make good instructional space. And that's how kids learn. But if you would see that, and other people would desire to come as well, we're going to grow. And so we need more space. Without that space, we're cutting into our instructional space, and then the students are going to suffer because the staff and administrators, they're going to have to cut into that valuable instructional, that program space in order just to seat a child in a classroom. In other words, the greater achievement classes, the ones that are set up, they're not going to be able to have those classes anymore. The kids are just going to have to hit those just pre-K through 8th grade. You know, it's going to sacrifice, it's going to sacrifice that one-on-one that we have with our students and teachers. And that's where not only critical space is needed, but critical time for instruction takes place during that. We don't want to lose that. We don't want to lose what small classroom enrollment allows with that one-on-one, and we don't want to have portables on our campus. We didn't have them pre-construction. We don't want to have them post-construction. I hope it's all about dollars and cents, but more sense than just dollars. Thank y'all so much for what you do. May God bless you in your future endeavors.
Thank you. Mr. Leroy Plower. I'm sorry, I read that wrong. The bottom of the B is not very clear. Blower.
Brown. B-R-O-W-N.
Brown.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Does that look like brown to you?
Let somebody else look at it. I'm pretty sure I wrote B in that. Okay, my name is Leroy Brown, and she's trying to figure out. I'm going to speak to you tonight from some facts. We often get the paper on Thursday, and we try to read the paper and get ideas of what's going on in Marlboro County. But I'm coming to you tonight with the facts, and you can take this home with you. You can discuss it. I am a transportation specialist. Anytime you read the paper and they're attacking bus drivers, they're attacking me because I'm a transportation specialist. And one of the things I want to share with you tonight, on the shelter thing we had running last year, from day one, all the bus drivers had their little meetings on the campus discussing this issue because we felt that it wasn't a safe environment for our kids. Let me tell you why. Churro Street is one of the most busy streets in Bennettsville. And in the mornings, when we try to get in there, it's okay in the mornings. We have too much of a problem. We get in there and get our kids, and we load, and we have 6 buses that's dispatched to Blenheim to go do the shuttle. Now, mind me, the parents that's up here fussing about that they want the shuttle back, first of all, they didn't comply with the way the system was set up. The system was set up when you bring your child to the elementary school, they go to the schoolhouse, go in the cafeteria, and be housed in the cafeteria until the principal dispatched them to come out to the bus. But no, you come in there 5, 10 minutes after 7, 15 minutes after 7, 20 minutes after 7, drop your kids out of the car, they're running all across the parking lot. We are looking at our rear mirrors, trying to see if the child behind the bus, trying to be able to take off the campus to go to Blenheim. So you confuse the problem. Now, in the afternoons, when we come back in the evening, sometimes it be 8 to 10 buses stacked in there trying to get into elementary school. You have cars lined all the way back up to the plaza up there, the building where the senior citizens live, won't let the buses turn in to get in there to make their load. Now, we got the School of Discovery. School of Discovery buses come in. We have 2 buses coming from the School of Discovery. Now, we have 6 buses we're trying to put in there, and my transportation director said we don't want but 2 lines in there. That's what we tried to do. But if we arrive there early than the School of Discovery, then we have to sit out in the field until the School of Discovery buses get in to unload their kids. Now, mind me, we got 3 buses already in there. Kids are all in the parking lot. Sometimes the drivers have to get off the bus and go and tell the kids to stand back so the School of Discovery buses can get in. Once the School of Discovery buses get in, they unload, they leave. But we got a whole parking lot load of kids. 3 buses still have to come in there. And I'm trying to do it as fast, we got a lot I want to say. But then the 3 buses have to come in and unload. And when those buses unload, then we dispatch and go and run a middle school route. Then we have to go over to the high school to pick up the high school kids. So some buses have 3 routes. Now, the other thing you're talking about, buses being late and buses being overcrowded. This problem is not going to go away. And the reason why, we got buses on our campus 26 years old. I don't think anybody here drive a car that's 26 years old. Okay, we got all thrown in the parking lot. You go down to Blenheim, you will see all the, it's a shame that we take people down to Blenheim to see our beautiful campus. And on our cement concrete, there's all where buses have dropped all on the floor. Now, when that happens, we get it in the morning time, we start our bus and won't start because our pressure won't build up. So these are problems bigger than Marlboro County. We need new buses, we need drivers. Average drivers make $42 a day. They got to be dedicated because I don't think any of you will work for $42 a day. Thank you.
Mr. Hubbard McDonald Jr. on school financing.
Good evening. I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to speak to this board. I have never spoken to this group since I arrived back in Marlboro County in 1976. I have written my material because Lucy's 3 minutes is going to cause me a problem. I have watched since I've returned the education of the children of this county decline, the mismanagement of the school district itself continued to decline. And I didn't do anything. As I say, I wasn't part of the solution. I should have been. But when I saw that this board and this administration was going to spend $23 million on the Wallace School, which is $3 million more than the voters approved, it was time for me to say something. I have a great deal of experience in public finance. Prior to returning to Marlboro County, I was in South Carolina Assistant Attorney General. Subsequent to that, I was the Marlboro County Attorney. Subsequent to that, or during that time, I was president of South Carolina Attorney General County Attorneys Association. In South Carolina, a governmental body may not spend more than the voters approved by referendum. I am sure that the superintendent and the lawyer must know that. If not, they shouldn't be in those positions. Is this board or this administration go forward and spend more than the voters approved and willfully ignoring, violate the laws of the state of South Carolina, I intend to take appropriate legal action against the board, the administration, not only in your official capacities, but in your individual capacities. Violation of fiduciary duties is a serious legal problem and has serious consequences. The willful and knowing violation of the law is even more serious. Among other things, when willfulness comes into play, punitive damage comes into play also. The children of this county deserve to be the primary focus of education. Under this board and this administration, children seem to be very far down on the list of priorities. Money and who gets it seems to be the top priority. Receivers accountable to the court we put the children as top priority. And it is my hope that whatever legal action we take, that the court will approve the school district being taken over by receivers who can manage the school system. They're not going to be concerned about what they're going to eat for supper. They're not going to be
Madam
concerned.
Chair, his 3 minutes is up.
Others have exceeded it, I tend to too. They are not going to have egos running rampant. They are not going to blatantly disregard the law. They are not going to have personal vendettas. The citizens of this county and others deserve a board administration that handles tax monies responsibly and provides a quality education for the children.
Mr. McDonald, you have been warned. Your 3 minutes are up.
And Ms. Fleming, I am departed. I am through.
Thank you.
To improve your attitude.
Thank you.
Without objection, we're going to take a 2 or 3 minute recess for everybody to regroup. Please return to your seats. Now, in the future, when I'm signaling to people that it's 3 minutes, I would appreciate it if board members would not start to call out to the point that people can't even hear what I'm telling them. I do not like yelling in a meeting, and I don't intend to do that. So if you would please maintain some degree of decorum, I would appreciate it. Next, we have individual items from members of the school board, and we are back in, I hope, an orderly form.
Madam Chair.
Ms. Wright?
Excuse me. But I would like for Dave Duff to respond to that last participant.
I would like for us to wait until we're doing the Wallace School construction project. So it's related to that. All right, the first item here is freedom of information. Mrs. Fleming.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm going to pass out some information to the board members, and I'm going to read it. This is from Duff, White & Turner, a law firm that represents Marlboro County School Board. It's the board offices in Marlboro County School District, and it's from Mr. David Duff. And the subject is public forum meetings based on an article dated September 25th, 2004, in the Marlboro Herald Advocate. It appeared that 5 board members attended a public forum on bus transportation issues. I have been asked to address this meeting and related matters from a legal perspective. Under the South Carolina Freedom of Information Act, FOIA, whenever a quorum, in this case 5 board members, came together in one place and discussed any aspect of district business, district operation or business, a public meeting under FOIA took place. For any such meetings, proper notice to the media and the public, typically along with an agenda, is to be issued. Ultimately, this is the responsibility of the public body itself. Apparently, such compliance with FOIA did not take place in regard to this public forum. I am told that mention was made at a prior regular meeting board meeting that a public forum on this topic will be held. However, such mention would not satisfy FOIA. The fact that a gathering of the board came about when a quorum of the board attended the public forum may have been inadvertently or unintentional, but nevertheless, it constitutes a meeting under FOIA. As far as I know, no action was taken place at the public forum of the board. And if any actions were taken, it's likely it would be considered void or of no effect because it would have occurred at a meeting that did not comply with FOIA. In regard to statements in the article that Dr. Tiller or the administration did not attend the meeting, I suggested that the administration consider not attending for two reasons. First and primarily, since I understand that the administration had provided board members with additional information or explanation regarding the transportation plan, which I understand the board has not yet followed up on, I feel that citizens might feel that they could speak more freely and directly to the board outside the presence of members of the administration. Second, I thought that if there was a possibility that the board gathering might constitute a meeting, the administration might not want to be present because it might give undue attention or emphasis to a meeting that might be questionable under FOIA. If the board has any question or would like further guidance which took place or the requirements of FOIA, please let me know. This, I think, would maybe clear up Mr. McNeil. When the meeting came about, I told Ms. Parson no, that I was not going to attend. She went around a second time and she asked again. I didn't give her an answer. Whenever they did the ask for the motion, I didn't object, but I knew that I wasn't going to attend. I'm glad that I did not, because this meeting would not meet the requirements that FOIA requires.
Thank you, Ms. Fleming. Public participation, Mrs. McLean.
Thank you. Regarding public participation, each of us should have received a letter from a district employee regarding board violations of its own participation policy. While I will not read the letter aloud, each of us has it in our possession. The letter is very firm and is directed toward the board chair. It notes that the policy states, speakers may offer objective criticisms of the district and school operations and programs as concern items. However, in public sessions, the board will not hear personal complaints about the district personnel, nor hear personnel complaints against any person connected with the district. Other channels provide for board consideration and disposition of legitimate complaints involving individual employees. Lastly, the letter puts the board chair on notice that if public participation policies are not followed and the individual's character is attacked again in public, they would have no other recourse than to seek further action by legal counsel. As spokesperson for the board, the chairperson has an obligation to see that we, as a governing body, adhere to the policies set forth by this governing body and the state. We, as a governing body, on the other hand, have an obligation that if the chairperson is not conducting themselves in a manner that adheres to the policies set forth, we should intervene. And thank you, Ms. Fleming, for intervening. I would like to invite any person with a grievance or complaint against any staff member to use the guidelines we have in place to lodge complaints or grievances. If they're not handled at the district level, there is an avenue for you to bring them to us in the proper forum. I would also like to offer my most sincere apology to any staff member who was allowed to be publicly humiliated by our board. Though there are no policies in place that prohibits the chairperson from writing an article in the newspaper expressing that there shouldn't be 5 African Americans on the board and the public should vote all African Americans out, Policy BC states that public office is a trust created by the confidence in which the public places the integrity of its public officers. To preserve this confidence, it is the desire of the board to operate under the highest ethical standards. Having a problem with African Americans on the board does not appear to be the actions of a person with high ethical standards. Having a problem with the 5 African American board members, the African American superintendent, and her 5 African-American cabinet members, how long will it be before she expresses her disdain for the 70% of the African-American students of this district? Or is this why she described in the newspaper the school district as an F district?
Thank you, Ms. McLean. And next is property acquisition of the McCall School. Mr. Goff.
This is actually an item that was carried over from the last meeting from Mr. Coachman, who was not in attendance. So, let me say that. This was an item that was actually carried over from the last meeting that was brought up by Mr. Coachman. I just added it back onto the agenda since he was not here.
Good evening, everybody.
Mr. Coachman.
Yes, this is an action item that we had talked about in the Wallace area, and I talked with Mr. Goff earlier, and I visited the McCall area and the land properties that we were talking about. It is a needed thing for the McCall area as far as parking and paving, but also we have other needs, other places in the district that we need to satisfy, especially like in, I've talked with Ms. McLean also, and I've been to the basketball games in Clio, and I know the locker rooms are not there. I've also been in the parking lot, and I know the lighting is not there. And those are needs that we need also. And also I've been in the auditorium in the Bennettsville School, and I know the auditorium needs work. So in order to try to please everybody in the county, which is our job as the board to do, I think we need to address all the issues for everybody in the county. So I would like to make a proposition that we put all 3 of these items together, and as a board to prioritize and take care of all these 3 items, and I'd like to put it in the form of a motion. If there's any discussion on it before we do that.
What we need to do is have a motion and then we discuss.
Okay, Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion that we put the property for McCall for acquisition, the locker rooms and the lightings and the concrete for the basketball court, and the needs for the Clio area, along with the auditorium for the Bennettsville area, as capital needs projects that this board needs to address as soon as possible, when the funds become available.
I second that motion.
All right. Since it's your motion, Mr. Coachman, would you start the debate, please?
There's no debate here.
Well, if you would like to plead your case a bit more.
I think I just did. We all 3 need those things. But, and at the same time, I'll address that need when we get to the Wallace School project. But the Wallace School project is not a part of this debate. But I think these are things that are needed, like, especially like I said, the auditorium, the chairs are pretty bad in the auditorium, and the flooring is bad in the Bennettsville area, and the lighting and the safety issues are in Clio and the locker rooms, and also the availability for parking spaces in McCall is also a need. So all 3 of those things are something that we need through part of capital improvements for our people here in Marlboro County.
So would you restate your motion?
Madam Chair.
All right.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the 3 items just listed for the McCall area, the Clio area, and the Bennettsville area as part of capital improvement as an action item taken by this board.
I second. And there's some discussion down here, Madam Chair.
It's already been.
Yes, you did. And there's some discussion down here, Madam Chair.
I didn't ask you to make another motion. I asked you to restate it so that I could restate it behind him, which is my job to do. I didn't understand what he had said clearly enough. All right. Yeah. Mr. Coachman.
What happened now? Oh, what happened? We need to prioritize them?
Yes.
Okay. Well, let's get Mr. Parks to give us a look at the funding and how we can get it done. I think that would be the best way to do it. And
now, when I restate this motion so it becomes the board's motion, I want you to move back a little bit so I can see you. Thank you. I want you to tell me if I'm restating it as you've wanted it stated, all right?
I will.
You're asking the staff, and the superintendent and the staff, to collect information that what we're saying is we want to move forward with this as a capital improvement, not that we're wanting to just say, go build it.
Right, absolutely.
Okay, all right. That's what I wasn't getting from what you said.
We need to move forward on all three.
That's right, so that they will bring us information back,
And as the
and then
funding
we'll
comes
take
available,
a
we move
further
forward.